What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Kyle's Gaming. It's your boy Kyle, and in today's video, guys, I have brought you the top 5 best. Now, here is the top 5 worst maps in Call of Duty Zombies, excluding Transit. Now, I say excluding Transit because I think it is pretty well known by now that Transit is the worst map of all time, and I do plan on doing sort of a top 5 as to why Transit is the worst of all time, and like what are the top 5 reasons as to why it's the worst of all time, instead of making a video of like sitting here explaining why it's the worst of all time. Just kind of keep it in the same fun format that I have for all of my last videos. And then the other thing I want to mention, guys, real quick is, again, just like with all my other videos, this is my own personal opinion. You guys don't have to agree with it. You don't have to dislike. You don't have to hate me for it. We can just agree to disagree. Capiche? Capiche? Great. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with this video. Kicking off our list at number 5, guys, we have Nuketown Zombies. Now, there are a lot of good things about Nuketown that make me like it, but there are still some things about it that it just has to come on this list. Not high, not like top 3, but definitely still at number 5. So the good things about Transit that I really enjoyed was they took a multiplayer map, a really popular one at that, and they made it into a zombies map, which was a really great move. I do like the M27. I like, being able to use the Ray Gun Mark II and the LSAT. Just their choice of weapons for this map was pretty good, in my opinion. Could have used a few more like kind of new wonder weapons, but anyways, I'm not gonna complain too much. They did well enough with their weapons. But the bad thing about Nuketown Zombies that puts it on this list, number 1 is the random perk spot. You have absolutely no idea if you're gonna end up getting, let's take Jug for example, one of the most important, if not the most important perk of all time, and for everyone who plays zombies, it just, the fact that you don't know whether you're gonna get it on round 5 or round 25 honestly does bug me about this map. That's the one thing that I always hated about this map, was the random perk spawn. I want to know exactly when I'm going to have my perks, or at the very least, I want to know where my perks are going to be. Because it's not just when they're going to spawn, it's where. There's like 10 different places on the map where they could spawn. Probably the absolute worst one is in the garage on Nuketown Zombies, because there's one way in and one way out. So it would be very easy to go down while getting Jug. So anyways, there's that, but then they also put the Bowie knife and the Galvanicles in the exact same location. Really? Dude, just make it one or the other. Don't put them in the exact same spot, because Lord knows someone's just going to decide, well, alright, I guess I'll just keep saving up the 3,000 points, get the Galvanicles, and just say screw it to the Bowie knife, instead of paying 9,000 points for both, when they're both literally just right there inside the bus. So that is entirely pointless. The random perk spawn, I find, is a gutsy move, but just did not work well enough in execution. It is still one of my favorite maps, comes in at number 5, though. Moving on down to number 4 on the list, guys, we have Call of the Dead. Now, this map is definitely one of my more least favorite maps. Not necessarily saying that it's terrible, but I mean, then again, it is on this list, so it has to be pretty bad. What are some of the things that make Call of the Dead worthy of this list? Well, let's see. We've got George Romero, who decides to follow you around the entire map. Oh, that sounds fun. Let's see. We've got a horrible wonder weapon in the VR11. If you want to know more about that, go ahead and check out my top 5 worst wonder weapons list and find out why that is just a pile of shit. And then, what else we got? Oh, the fog. Yes, the fog. So, I'm going to play a map where I am like completely blind for 3 seconds at random points. Fun. Oh, and to really just drive it all home, everything is a freaking hike. It's a hike to get to Jug. It's a hike to get from one mystery box place to the next. It is a hike to get from one side of the map to the other for Pack-a-Punch. I mean, honestly, this entire map is just nothing but one long trip. Now, I will say, a lot of the things that are bad about this map are avoidable. For instance, George Romero, he walks slowly and will only attack when you get really close to him. That's actually pretty avoidable. And if he goes into his just rage mode, have him walk through the freezing cold water, he'll calm right down. The fog is barely there at all, so it's more of an inconvenience than anything else. That's not terrible. And then the VR11, it's simple. To avoid that, just don't get it. If you get it in the box, just don't take it. Because like I said, George is actually pretty easy to avoid. And I will be completely honest. I would rather play Call of the Dead than the next three on this list. So that should give you an idea as to how bad Call of the Dead is without being like the absolute worst. But it is more than deserving of our number 4 spot. Moving down to the number 3 spot on the list, guys, we have Die Rise. And honestly, I could make a top 5 of top 5 reasons as to why Die Rise is so bad and why I hate Die Rise so much. So let me kind of give you a brief version of that. So like number 1, or one of the reasons is 2-hit kill zombies on round 1. And what I mean is it takes 2 knives to kill the zombies on round 1, or at least some of them. Why? That's just so pointless. No other map in the history of zombies has ever done that. Why did Die Rise need to? Number 2, the elevators themselves can crush you if they go all the way to the ceiling. They can end up crushing you if they're really far down and you jump down onto them. That can kill you, fall damage. And then lastly, let's say you're pack-a-punching a weapon like you see here. I'm pack-a-punching this weapon. The elevator suddenly drops down. I just lost my weapon. It's gone. It's just gone now. That is just so infuriating. And then there's the random perk spawn in the elevators. Not in the same sense of Nuketown, because some perks will always spawn in one tower and in certain elevators, and then the other perks will spawn in the other certain elevators. So the elevators that they spawn in is the part that's random, but the entire area that they will spawn in on the map, that's normally the same. And then you have the jumping jacks, which are incredibly annoying. You have to melee them in order to get the perk bottle instead of the max ammo. And then number 1, Who's Who. Guys, if you want to know more about why Who's Who is probably the absolute worst part of all of Die Rise, go check out my top 5 pointless perks video, and that will give you a pretty good idea as to what I'm talking about there. Now, the few good things about Die Rise as to why it's at number 3 and not number 2 or number 1, well, you've got 3 really good training spots. You have the Sliquifier, and you have the AN-94. So those 3 just barely managed to save this map some grace from coming on the list at number 2 and number 1. So, you know what? Bravo, Die Rise. You are my least favorite map, at least, you know, in terms of Black Ops 2, you're my least favorite map of that game. You're one of my least favorite maps of all time, but you managed to stay ahead of our next 2. So let's go ahead and see what is one of the maps that could be worse than Die Rise. Coming in at the number 2 spot on our list, guys, we have Verruckt. What could possibly be so bad about Verruckt? Well, let me ask you this. What could possibly be good about Verruckt? Like just tell me what could possibly be good about Verruckt. It probably would sound a little something like this. The weapons! It's got pretty good weapons! Oh, what? The PPSH? Yeah, you know? Okay, yeah. It's got a pretty decent weapon in the PPSH. But you want to know what else it has? It has a Springfield rifle that is only effective up until like round 2 or 3. And the iron sights are off. Oh, what else? Oh, hey, the bar gun. That's a great one. 2,500 points for a bipod attachment to go with your gun, which you can't even use unless you glitch the map. Wow, yeah, we got some pretty awesome weapons going on here. Go ahead. What else we got? Well, what about the perks? Oh, yes, the Jug, the Revive, the Speed Cola. What about Double Tap? Double Tap? I'm sorry, do you not remember the fact that Double Tap 1 just makes you burn through ammo? No, you're thinking of Double Tap 2, my friend. That's the good perk. So Double Tap 1, it's not even an argument here. Okay, you've got no good argument with double tap 1. Next! Well, what about the map size, you know? What about training and camping? Whoa, hold up. Okay, so you realize that Verruckt is one of the absolute smallest maps of all time. Even smaller, I would argue. Like, roughly smaller than Nuketown Zombies. And the only reason I say it's smaller is because it doesn't have any training room. It's so packed. It's compact. Whereas Nuketown Zombies was pretty well open in some of its areas. And then the camping, the only place you could really camp is over by the electric trap, and that itself costs 1,000 points each time you decide to use it. So yeah, good luck with that. Guys, Verruckt, number 2. You heard what I just had to tell this dumbass right here. Verruckt, number 2. Let's go ahead and see what could possibly be worse than Verruckt. And coming in at number 1 on our list of the top 5 worst maps, excluding Tranzit, we have ShangriLa. Literally, the only reason that ShangriLa is number 1 and not Verruckt is because of the fact that I just never went back to it. Whether it was the Black Ops 1 version or the Black Ops 3 version, I just could not go back to it. I mean, the sand trap. The fact that the pack-a-punch is pretty much impossible if you play with more than just yourself. Because Lord knows there's going to be some people who probably don't have mics, don't know what they're doing. It's just so difficult to be able to pack-a-punch when you play with multiple people. And then doing it by yourself, yeah, it's a lot easier and that's nice, but it's just not as fun. You know, Zombies is supposed to be a group game. And then the zombies, the special zombies, as opposed to putting in like an actual boss like George Romero, the astronaut, the Panzer Soldat, Brutus, as opposed to actually putting in the time and effort to make a specific boss like a mummy or something like that for this map, Treyarch decided to put in special zombies like the Exploding zombie, which will kind of like a creeper from Minecraft. It'll explode whenever it gets close to you, which is pretty self-explanatory given the name. And then the Screecher zombie, which will scream at you with a sonic, kind of like a sonic scream that will disorient you for a few seconds and kind of make your vision blurry and everything. Wow, yeah, fun, innovative, so awesome. I guess the only good thing is that I did like their wonder weapon, the shrink gun, where you can shoot the zombies and they'll shrink down and you can run right through them and kill them easily. But even so, does anyone even know that that exists? Like, does anyone hit the box thinking, oh man, I hope I get the shrink gun, man, I really hope I get that gun, that'd be so awesome? I don't think so. I never did, and I don't know anybody else who has. I'm not saying that there aren't people, I'm just saying I don't know those people. So, in my opinion, guys, ShangriLa is just the worst map of all time, no matter what Black Ops you play it on. Whether it's Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 3, it's just a bad map. At least with Verruckt, I actually liked playing it on Black Ops 1 and definitely Black Ops 3. Because as Call of Duty Zombies grew, the weapons kept getting better and better and better with each new installment. And then with ShangriLa, that just didn't make a difference for me. Despite how good the weapons were in Black Ops 3, I just still didn't care. I still didn't play it. So in my opinion, Tranzit is the number 1 worst of all time, but ShangriLa is definitely a close second. Wow, I gotta say, I'm actually pretty thirsty, especially after that Verruckt rant that I went on, but I guess in the end, really, it was just the original version of Verruckt I can't stand, but both versions of ShangriLa are just horrible. But anyways, guys, I hope you all really enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for new videos posted on a regular basis, and be sure to hit that little notification bell in the corner so that you can stay up to date with all my new content as soon as it comes out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have an awesome day, and I will see you guys in my next top 5 video.